We are live on Zoom with Marilyn Lamer from Honolulu, Hawaii. And I am so thrilled to introduce her. So here we go. Marilyn Lamer welcome, first of all. I usually have an intro, but today, due to tech issues, I will introduce my podcast. So Biz Reboot is with Biz Coach Claire. It's the podcast where we dive into the inspiring journeys of heart-centered entrepreneurs who are making a difference in the lives of their soulmate clients. Today's special guest, Marilyn Lamer, is in the house. She was born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii. She's a graduate of Punahou and graduated Cum Laude from, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but from Chaminade University with a degree in business management. Marilyn has been married for 15 years, has two amazing boys. Her eldest son was diagnosed with autism and ADHD at a young age. And Marilyn's going to share her story on this health journey, which is absolutely amazing. Short story is Marilyn came out of her shell to become an independent promoter after seeing the results from Innov8tive Nutrition for her family. So fast forward a couple of years, and now Marilyn is one of the highest recognized promoters for Innov8tive. Marilyn is an international speaker and trainer, helping to inspire and encourage action takers to see what's possible when they dream big in an abundant world. And she is currently a chapter success coach for BNI Hawaii. BNI stands for Business Networking International. She's overseeing 4 chapters. She's also a co-host for Happy Neighborhood Project for the Hawaiian Islands. Man, Marilyn is the networking queen. Also, she is the live Facebook queen. She's been live constantly. We'll hear all about that soon as well. But with all that Marilyn has accomplished, she never forgets what started this amazing journey. And she's always recognizing how much she loves people. She's always recognizing others, actually. And her favorite saying is, if you don't feel your best, you can't serve your best. So without further ado, welcome Marilyn Lamer.
Oh, thank you so much, Claire. I'm so thrilled to be here today.
Yes, Marilyn. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I did not spill the beans and tell them your story. I would love for you to introduce yourself and share your amazing journey.
Thank you. Yes, so I'm Marilyn Lamer, and something that happened during quarantine when we're all forced to just stay in our homes is that my son, you heard that he's high needs and has attention issues. He actually got this idea in his brain that he was afraid we're all going to pass away and he's going to be left alone. And as a 10-year-old, almost going to be 11-year-old, that is a horrifying thought. And he was so scared every single night, crying his eyes out. And that just broke my heart. There was nothing that I could say that would reason with his thinking. I have happened to find Innov8tive Nutrition, and I was open to trying these 1-inch square patches. And he was open, thank goodness, because I had tried oral supplements in the past for him and he just refused. However, when I put the sleep and the CBD patches on him every night consistently, he went from crying his eyes out for hours and hours, keeping us both awake till 2 a.m. every morning. After 2 months, his meltdowns went from hours and hours to less than 5 minutes and then non-existent. So I was just like, oh my goodness, this company just helped my family so much. Anything that helps me is great, but anything that helps my child just has my heart forever. So I've been sharing my story the past 3.5 years, hoping to help other parents out there that may be going through the same thing I did. And it has been really, really life-changing. And when I get to help another parent that, is having a hard time sleeping, because when you don't sleep, when your child doesn't sleep, that means you don't sleep. And that means, especially if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, right, it means that you're not getting enough sleep. You're not being able to serve your best. So it really helps everybody across the board when people are getting their sleep, when children that are high needs with ADHD or with attention issues are able to have a solution. And that's where I come in. And it's been fantastic.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I love how you mentioned the value of sleep. Like that is something maybe sometimes we take for granted, but sleep is an issue. And a lot of my clients actually say they can't sleep. They have a hard time sleeping. And one of them I know is a regular on the sleep patches. So you want to talk about sleep for a little bit?
Yeah, so our sleep patches doesn't have any melatonin in it. Our company knows that if you take outside melatonin for long periods of time, you're teaching your body to stop producing its own. So our sleep patch has natural vitamin Bs and magnesium and all sorts of minerals to help your body to naturally relax. And that way, when it's time to sleep, it's slow releasing over 8 hours. You're getting that nutrients. And every night I actually do muscle testing to see, should I wear 1 or 2 sleep patches to sleep? Because those really, really hard days where I've been working all day, my parents own a plant farm. So with those days that I'm helping them in the hot sun, those are the days I've noticed that my body is saying, yes, you need to. And so I'm super thankful for the sleep patches. They not only help me, but my family. Something that I noticed as I got older is I have to get up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. And when you get up in the middle of the night, sometimes it's hard to fall back asleep. But I really appreciate these patches because I get up and then I go back to sleep and I'm able to fall back asleep and still wake up feeling refreshed, feeling like I had slept the whole night. And that's something I'm very, very thankful for because sleep is very important, like you said.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you brought that up because I'm noticing that I'll wake up as well in the middle of the night having to go to the restroom. And yes, going back to sleep is like my mind starts going after that. I'm like, oh, I'm up. And then I'm up from 3 in the morning. So I'm glad you brought that up. Wow. So it will get you out of bed if you need to go to the restroom, and then you can go back to sleep with the patches on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I love it. All right. Oh, another thing I am loving about your company is I have it right here. These little packets, guys. I used to be so addicted to coffee, and this has been my coffee replacement. Absolutely amazing. And then I don't know like the results, but Marilyn says it's supposed to help me lose weight too. So you want to talk about that too?
Yes, we came out with a coffee supplement for people that, want a morning drink, want that morning pick me up, but has a thermogenesis effect. So you are going to start losing inches. You're going to start losing weight. What's huge is, and this is what I try to educate people, is muscle weighs more than fat. So scale is not a good indicator. And when you start measuring and seeing the fat being lost through inches is so much powerful. So I've lost 8.6 pounds, which is great. However, when you couple that with 12.5 inches lost, that is like mind blowing because I know that muscle weighs more than fat. So when you look at the comparison of 5 pounds of fat versus 5 pounds of muscle, it is a huge, huge difference space-wise, but not pound-wise, right? So
I love it.
pounds is the same. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, I love it. I took my measurement, so we'll see how that goes. And I feel like this has actually made me more regular, So I don't know if it's because of this, but I feel like when I drink it, I'm more regular. So that could be helping to remove the inches.
Yes, I love it. That's perfect.
I know, I love it. And at first, I drank it hot, so it wasn't. I wasn't really feeling it. I was thinking, okay, maybe I need to add some sweetener. And it says here, when you add sweetener, you can add monk fruit, right? Mm-hmm. Or stevia.
I would recommend flavored monk fruit or flavored stevia.
Oh, okay, cool. So, but the next day I drank it cold and I blended it. Like I had the little blender, and it was so good. Like, I look forward to having this. And then I feel like, I don't know if it's just in my head, but I feel like my clarity, I'm able to have more focus without the caffeine like buzz. Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh, I
Okay, cool.
love that. That's great.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this helps with my inches. But thank you so much, Marilyn, for that, because this has been a great journey drinking this every morning.
Oh, you're very
Um, yeah, so I highly recommend it. In fact, I told someone else about it already. So uh yes, this is so amazing. So contact Marilyn. Her links are down below if you are interested in any of these products that we're talking about. But let's talk about mindset and nutrition. I love already how you brought up the scale, because a lot of my clients get caught up in looking at the scale. And I believe like where your focus goes, energy flows, right? So let's not look at the scale necessarily, because then we're focused on weight. But what else would you like to share with us about nutrition and mindset?
Mindset is so, so important. And I believe, and this is something I'm working through with myself, with everything that happened with COVID and homeschooling my children and all of this stress, right? A lot of people who have lost weight have gained it back, me being one of them during that time. And I'm realizing it's our mindset. Our mindsets are so strong, it wants to revert us back to what we're comfortable with. But how are we going to notice what we're noticing and change and break out of that pattern? So this is why mindset is really important. I'm actually reading this book called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And he said, life is all a mind game. And that was like such a breakthrough for me. I'm like, it really is. Whether we think we can, we think we can't, we're right. And then what we are, who we are as beings, that's who we attract. So we are abundant beings. And I say this all the time. We are abundant beings. If you're going to live an abundant being of wealth or love or whatever the positive, you're going to get that in abundance. If you're going to be living in an abundance of lack and scarcity, you're going to live in that abundance. And nobody wants to live there, but there's a lot of people that do. And I'm going to just point to myself because I lived there for majority of my life. And as I got to work on myself, as I worked with you, Claire, all these things started coming up and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am in control of myself. And I said it multiple times. If it's to be, it's up to me. I know this. We all know this. We all hear it. However, do we know it in the core of our heart? And what kind of actions are we taking? And I'm going to also say this is going to make people a little bit uncomfortable because I did have a discussion about this a couple of days ago. It's not enough to just listen to books, listen to audiobooks, read books, listen to podcasts, get coaching, all these great things. It's not enough to just listen and read. You have to couple it with action. And if you do not couple it with action, you're just going to go in a step in a circle. So think about each step of learning, lifelong learning is going to be one step with your right. And then each action that you taking action on what you're learning is going to be one step forward with your left. So we want to keep stepping forward, moving forward, instead of going around in a circle with just our right and learning and learning and learning and learning and learning. It's just not going to work. So that's something that I'm really passionate about too, because I tell you that I want to show people what's possible, the action takers, because if you're not going to take action, it's not going to work.
Oh my goodness, Marilyn. This is so amazing. I love this conversation. So absolutely true. I man, just so many things you just said was like boom, 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 like law of attraction, right? We've been talking story about that. How I had the thirsty, empty, just going through my separation and then heading towards a divorce. I was attracting guys like 50 different offers. After 1 year of counting 50 different offers, I stopped counting and was like, what the heck? Is this what single life is all about? And because I didn't understand the law of attraction, but that was my first, my first like, this is how the law of attraction works. You're vibing on the low, you're attracting thirsty energy because, I was in survival mode and all that stuff. I have a video about it, you can watch it. But once I shifted to where shifted my mindset, and first thing I did was start practicing gratitude, like feeling grateful every day. I didn't realize that right there could shift our energy so quickly and in such a powerful way. So that's amazing. I love that you said that. And then how you said taking action. Oh my gosh, self help. Like that was me, like for decades, studying all this stuff and putting it in my head, but never applying it or walking it out in life. Oh, I love that you said that. Yeah. Oh, so good, Marilyn.
And we are
So
mirrors because when I first started working with you, that's something that I was dealing with as far as thirsty messages, thirsty men, right? I wasn't loving myself the way that I needed to love myself. And so I got all these offers as well. And I'm like, Claire, what's happening? I don't want this. And there was a shift, right? Recently, I told you, hey, I haven't been getting this for many, 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 many months. And that's so cool. And we're both like noticing that we're leveling as we level it up, as we're having that energy and vibration of love for ourselves. Those kinds of messages are non-existent anymore.
I know, I love it. Isn't that amazing? So I just, yeah, that was a big eye opener for the law of attraction, right? And we've both gone through that. The other thing too, as you're saying that about self-love, and I've talked on your podcast before, is that I didn't understand what self-love was, right? I was seeing a guy and I would like have these, I don't know, the guys call it psycho girlfriend thing. Like they call it a psycho girlfriend where like she's jealous or she's like, why are you going out so much or whatever it is. And I was having this moment where they would call that version of me a psycho girlfriend. And his reaction to that was, you need to love yourself. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, I love myself. What are you talking about? So I didn't understand what self-love was until doing this deep work and then really loving myself, all of me. I mean, I would love for you to talk, let's talk about self-love. Like that was a big aha moment for me.
Self-love is so important. Something that I learned 3 years ago was mirror work. So the first time I looked in the mirror and told myself, I love you, I cried because I didn't believe it. And then I realized, wow, I have a lot of work to do on myself. I had been in a abusive household for 13 years where I was being verbally and mentally abused. And so I thought I was worthless. I believed what this person said. And when I started working on myself and then realizing the mirror work, looking in my eyes in the mirror and saying, I love you, I'm proud of you, you're beautiful, all these wonderful affirmations, I didn't believe it. But as you go on and make it consistent and start telling yourself, start working on yourself, the self-love is going to just grow and grow and grow. And now I believe myself when I talk in the mirror, when I do my mirror work, and it's really powerful. Something that I realized, and then we build our self-confidence, right? As we do this kind of work. And something that I know we are both working on right now is self-worthiness. Because yes, we can build our confidence up and up and up and build our self-love up and up and up. But if we don't build our self-worth, guess what? Our brains are going to go back to what we are comfortable with and self-sabotage ourselves because we don't think that we're worthy. And so this is something that I'm really excited that we are going through together deeply to help other people know that this all comes from self-worth. Something happened between the ages, maybe of 5 through 10, or a little bit older, when we were younger, that diminished our self-worth, that we thought maybe we're not worthy, or we have to be defensive, or we have to protect ourselves, whatever that may be. And that served us back then. However, now as an adult, we are different. We are equipped differently. Our minds are stronger, and we can break free from that. So I love that this is what you're teaching. This is what you're passionate about as well, Claire.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I love this conversation. Yes, so I've been studying this for a while, and even on a deeper basis because I've been going through a lot of crap, right? So I realized a couple of things. Number one is that I love how you mentioned and thank you for being so vulnerable, Marilyn, about the 13 years of that household and being, such in a toxic environment. I just recently did a video on the Hawaii Canal and how toxic it is, and how we were like, what the heck? How can fish live in there? And it's like us as humans, we're like, what the heck? How could I be in such a toxic environment and survive? It's because that's all I knew. So I think that's so important, is to really take a step back and evaluate our environment, because we are a product of our environment. And so the thoughts that they think about us or say to us, we believe it. And the other thing that I've been studying is our mind. And you're right. By the age 7, our frontal cortex is not really fully developed or formed. So that's where our subconscious programming comes in. And our subconscious just wants to protect us, right? So it tells us, like, when we have a whole bunch of money come in, or we have great customers lined up, or for your situation, business associates, and you have all these good things happening to you, but yet you self-sabotage yourself. You, for some reason, like, protect yourself because you think at the core of it, you're not worthy. And the story's in our head, right? So I love that you mentioned worthiness, because exactly, a lot of us as kids, we think, okay, we're going to please our parents. We're going to do good in school. We're going to get good grades. We're going to accomplish, right? It's all about the self-esteem, accomplishments, the recognition, the self-confidence. So it's on the outside. This is all exterior measures. It's about getting the good job and getting good income or the good title or whatever it may be. But really, on the inside, how are we feeling? Because it's all about the self-worth, right? One story I would love to share is, and this was guys, when I discovered this and realized where this came from, where my self-worth came from as a young child, I was bawling. My parents, and I had this conversation with my dad the other day. I told him that I realized, because my parents got married young, and they were like 19 and 21 or something, and they had me, my dad, or they would say things like, don't get married young, don't have kids young, because it's hard, you're going to struggle and stuff like that. And I subconsciously, as a kid, thought that I'm a burden. And that's why I didn't feel worthy of things, because in my head, my story was, since I was little, is that I'm a burden. And because I'm a burden, that's why I used to talk really fast. And my speech teachers would say, Claire, slow it down. But I thought my time and what I had to say was not worth anybody else's time. And we buy into those stories. And then we wonder why. We don't understand why we're acting a certain way. I pushed love away. I pushed people away, because the core of it was that I didn't feel worthy. And I just want people to know out there that if that they're feeling crappy about themselves, because that's what I was feeling, I just felt crappy. And I would put on this face and act like everything's okay, and achieve and do things and please others and try to keep everyone else happy, when inside I wasn't happy. And it was because I didn't feel worthy. So I love that you brought that up too, Marilyn. Thank you so much. I love having conversations with you. And I love that we're sharing now, because we have such amazing conversations when we get together. Like, oh my gosh, I love our time. Like, I feel my cup feels full. And I'm so glad now that we're like having these conversations and sharing it with others, that whoever wants to watch and join us, because man, these are the types of conversations we have.
Oh, it's
I
so
love
fun.
it.
And something that I thought of is I always say we're meaning making machines. So we are going to make a meaning out of everything, whether it's true or not, to make it make sense to us. And something, I'm going to give you an example. I asked somebody for a training, and I asked her one time, I asked her 2 times, I asked her, and then, in between, there's, days passing. And then the story I told myself is, I'm not worthy enough for her to send me this training. And that made sense to me. And I was like feeling really crappy about myself. And finally, the third time I asked, I said, this is the story I'm telling myself, that I'm not worthy of receiving this training. And this is why you haven't sent it to me. But I just wanted to let you know, this is what's going on in my brain. And that took a lot of courage for me to tell this person. And she came back. She's like, oh, Marilyn, I am so sorry. I have been so slammed. I've been so busy on my side. It has nothing to do with you. Here's the training. And do you see, I made that whole thing up in my head just to make sense on why I wasn't being given this training. And it wasn't even true. So we do that to ourselves all the time. And so now when something comes up in my brain and I'm like, oh, maybe they don't like me, or maybe they don't think that I have something valuable to say, or whatever it may be, I tell myself, that's not true. Is that true? First of all, that's not true. And then I say, return it to the sender, because I don't want to hold space for something that I know is not true, because I don't, I'm not in that other person's brain or in that other person's mind. And I also tell people I don't read minds. So when I'm thinking, all these thoughts come up to try to make meaning and make sense of something, I'm like, nope, return it to the sender.
I love that. I love that one. Oh, that's a good point that you just brought up. That's another thing that not only me, but my clients too, they are worried about what other people think, and what I've come to realize, and that's what used to keep me up at night. Like, oh my gosh, so and so said something, told me this little thing, and then I make a whole story around it, and then I'm like, oh, I wonder if so and so thinks that way too, and and just all these stories, and you're trying to figure out like what's going on, like what are people thinking or saying, and you're trying to read people's minds. That's what I was doing. And now I realize, you know what? It's none of my business. It's not my business to know what anybody thinks of me or says about me. They can do and say what they want. I know me. And that's where, oh man, that excuse me, that's where it comes down to, right? About the self-worth, knowing yourself, loving yourself, all those things that we've been working on ourselves. So I love that you shared that. Thank you. I love that. Return to sender.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to share is hurting people hurt people. Even if they don't realize they're hurting, when they hurt other people, they're hurting inside. So I'm thinking, man, what are they going through that they feel the need to either hurt myself or hurt other people, right? Or get people to just band together to not like somebody. I mean, that kind of energy they're hurting in some way. So that's a reflection of them and not a reflection of me.
Ooh, so good. Yes, absolutely. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, exactly. One of my clients was talking about that recently, that there was some negative comments that were said that actually hurt, and so I shared my experience recently is that, I had to take a step back because hurtful words were told to me as well. And it kind of like made me evaluate myself, like, whoa, um, am I that crappy, And I had to take a step back and realize, oh, I remember that, that person is feeling crappy about themselves. it has nothing to do with me. And when I take a step back and evaluate that and go, wow, that really has nothing to do with me. That hurting people, hurt people, hurt people. I love that you said that. Thank you, Marilyn. Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah, it's like the crabs in the bucket, right? If one crab is trying to get out, you see the other crabs try to claw it back in. And it's because they're comfortable with where you are at too. So if you're somebody that is leveling up, if you're somebody that is breaking through your limiting beliefs, the people around you are going to be like, oh, who are you? You're changing, and that's bad because I'm uncomfortable. And so when you have that, it's like, okay, please assess the situation, because yes, you still love those people. They may be your friends, your closest family. However, if they're not in alignment of your energy and where you want to be, that's something that you need to protect as well.
Ooh, oh my goodness, Marilyn. It's like we planned this, but we didn't. I love that you said that, because absolutely, that's why I have my latest program that I'm just so passionate about. I feel like this is it. It's called the High Vibe Tribe. We meet twice a week and we discuss stuff like this. We talk about we're surrounding ourselves with people that are in growth mode, that are continuously working on ourselves to really make an impact, because we are in our holding ourselves back because of our environment, our thoughts, the stories in our head, our limiting beliefs, all those things that you want to call it, the crabs in our bucket. Like all of us have these crabs that are pulling us down. Well, we're intentionally setting aside time for ourselves to work on ourselves, and we meet twice a week. Amazing people, amazing breakthroughs are already happening. The High Vibe Tribe, I love it, right? Just surrounding yourself with those good people that want to help you grow and are in growth mode as well. And then our stories, oh my gosh, we're all going through the same kind of stuff at the same time, right? So we get to, as we help other people through it, we help ourselves. Isn't that beautiful?
It really is. And, when you live in scarcity and fear, you think of the whole world as a pie. And if somebody gets a bigger piece, that means you get a smaller piece. But when you live in a abundant world, and there's so many beautiful things out there that we can all help lift each other up. A rising tide lifts all ships. And we think of ourselves and our energy as a candle, and how can we light the other person's candle and just go on to the next and the next and the next and the next. Think how beautiful the world would be when we're all able to light each other's candle and live in a life that you would love, that's full of abundance that you would love, and no scarcity, no, lack. So just living in love, that vibration of love and empowerment, and knowing that life is going to get harder. This is something that really helped me too. Why do we think that life is going to become easier as we grow up? Life never becomes easier. Life gets harder. And then we just have to get better. We have to get stronger to be more resilient, to show up and wake up the next day. And how are we going to be better? And what is it that Jim Rohn says? He said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. So it's like a muscle. We have to constantly feed our brains and feed our minds, because life is going to get harder as we get older. And there's going to be things that we're like, oh my gosh, this is happening. However, this is happening for me. And what am I going to learn from it?
Ooh, I love that. And I just thought of the story that you told me before our call, how one of your leaders, mentors, she's amazing, and yet she had 50 trolls. 50, did you say? Wow.
At least, yes.
Yeah. So yes, even at that level where you are, just doing amazing things, such an amazing leader. And how many followers does she have?
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, like such a big following, such a big impact that she's making. And the haters still come, the trolls still come, right? And yet she carried herself so well, and her poise and the way she, was not moved by it. It's just amazing and inspiring. And that just goes to show that, wow, what a leader, like maybe I'll have maybe two or three haters or trolls, but not 50, but working my muscle up to where, hey, one day I may have 50 trolls and it's all good because I love myself. I know who I am. I know my self-worth and, bring it.
I love it. And one of her best friend, who is another one of my mentors, said a hater is just a confused supporter. How cool is that? So when you think of the haters commenting or talking or whatever, they're still boosting you. You are being kept top of mind in their world. And when you switch your thinking to a hater being a hater, from being a hater to a confused supporter, it's not as scary, it's not as detrimental to your to yourself, I think. And it's been fun like learning those kind of things. I'm like, man, I have a reel on Facebook that has, I'm gonna say, 800,000 views and over 1,000 comments, and there's a lot of hater comments on there. And when I heard that a hater is a confused supporter, I'm like, oh, great. Bring me more of those. It's okay.
There you go. I love it. Wow. There you go. I love it, Marilyn. So proud of you. Before you used to be so like affected by those comments, and look at you. And then I love how that saying just flipped it, right? Confused supporter, for real. They're putting energy. They're hating enough to put enough energy into making a comment. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. I love Oh, I love that. Marilyn, it's been amazing and awesome. Any closing remarks or anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
Every day, just be better every day. It's the mundane action steps. People think, oh, I have to be all these grand gestures to be what quote unquote is successful. However, it's what you do behind the scenes that nobody sees, that is non-glamorous, right? No, people are like, oh, I want the glamorous life, but you have to do the non-glamorous action steps that are just tiny little every day, and those are going to compound into huge results over time. And I'm just going to say, please be resilient. Don't give up, especially on your dreams and your goals. If you're giving up on your dreams and your goals, I'm just going to say it's not big enough. So think of it like an onion. Why do you want that? And peel back that onion 7 layers, asking, why do I want that? Why do I want that? Why? And when you peel back all the layers and get to your core why of why you want to do what you want to do, why you want to be where you want to be, giving up is never an option.
Oh, so good. Oh my gosh, Marilyn. Wow, that just hit my heart so in such a deep way. You don't even know. But the other thing that came up to me in my meditation time this morning about you, Marilyn, is the word brave. Brave. I just had that really strong feeling about you inspire people to be brave for some reason. I think because you used to be scared of talking in front of people. And yeah, so I don't know, that word came up for me this morning. And if you weren't brave enough to step out of your comfort zone, you wouldn't have touched so many lives like you have. You help so many people, Marilyn. And like you say, behind closed doors, people don't know all the stuff that you do. They don't know all the cards that you send to people, all the love that you give to people behind the scenes, and the time that you pour into loving people. But it does make an impact. And I just want you to know that you just make such a huge impact to our hearts. And sometimes, you stay consistent. You inspire me. You are online every day. And sometimes there may be no views or nobody reacting to it or saying anything to you, but I just want you to know that what you do makes a difference. Just keep doing it. Keep on being you. You're so inspirational. You're so brave.
Thank you so much, Claire. I'm gonna say before I did a Facebook Live, I thought I would die. And I was like, nope, never will do a Facebook Live. And then I took a class, 14-day Facebook Live challenge 3 times. The first 2 times I did nothing. And the third time I'm like, I'm just giving this guy my money. I need to start doing something. And that's when I started my lives. And now I have done over 1,800 lives. So I'm telling you right now, it is possible.
You're so pro. I know. I'm like, I want to do a live, and you're like, okay, sign me up. I'm like, okay, here we go. Boom. Marilyn's a pro already. But I know the feeling. I felt sick to my stomach the first time I did it. I thought maybe I didn't think I was gonna die, but I thought like, am I gonna throw up or what? Like, what's going on? I felt sick. I was sweating. I was like, what the heck am I doing? I was actually, it was the time I was hosting the live webinars, and people were expecting me to be on there. Meanwhile, I'm curled up on the ground, like scared. So yeah, our minds can, our subconscious is trying to protect us, right? And keep us safe there, where, because of my fear of what people would say. So I was afraid of going live or putting myself out there because of all the judgment that I would get. So,
And if you go with being uncomfortable, like get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm still not comfortable doing a Facebook Live or a video or anything like that. I talk myself up and I cheer myself on. I'm like, you can do it. Let's go. This is part of your routine. And you have, your day won't be complete until you do this. So I know every single day I'm going to be uncomfortable. And if you live your life in that way, it's going to help you grow.
oh, I love that. Yeah, actually, growth comes from stepping out of our comfort zone, right? So I love it. Marilyn, oh my gosh, you and I could talk for hours, as you know, we do. We go to lunch and it becomes like several hours later because I love our conversations. I love you. I'm always growing and learning from you. And I feel like I get more, like you just bring that other perspective, or that you share that story that just resonates with me. So thank you so much. I hope our listeners, and I know actually our listeners out there, have been touched by you. And if you guys want to reach out to Marilyn, her information is in the description below. Thank you so much, Marilyn. I love you. Have a fabulous day.
Thank you, Claire. I love you.
Thank you.